In this video, I wanted to talk about how we actually go about solving a problem that we have already set up in Excel, LinearProgram. And you'll notice I've clicked in the Data tab here, and I'm going to click on Solver, which brings up this dialog box. Now, there are several things we have to do here to get ready to be able to solve. The first is we have to set our objective function. And you'll recall from our problem statement that this was we wanted to maximize profits, and so we have a box here where we've calculated profits. If I click on that box, it puts the or cell, it puts the absolute reference for that cell into the solver box. The second line here is I want a max. I could also click on min or value of, but I want max. And it asks me, so it set the objective, which is profits, to maximize by changing variable cells. And so I click in here, and I have three of them. So I'm going to click over on the right-hand side with the little red dot in it. And I highlight the three cells that should change, that solver will change to create the best solution. And I hit enter, and it enters those in for me. Now I have a number of constraints here that I want to put in, and I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do this. You can enter them one at a time, and we're going to have to do two or three of them one at a time. But the first thing I'm going to do is enter three of them at a time. So I click over here on Add, and for the first three, those are all less than or equal to constraints, and so I can highlight the cells that I have my sum product formula in, and so you can see it put those in the cell reference part here. And then the middle box already says less than or equal to. Now, of course, there's a bunch of different options in there, and we'll come back to that. And then I click over here in the constraint part, and I highlight the three cells that correspond to those constraints, and I click Add. Now the reason I click Add is because it saved that one, and it takes me to the next one, or I can enter the next one without having to go all the way through or open up that other dialog box. So here I have a cell reference, and I want to do this fourth constraint, which is the marketing A constraint. I hit or click on the 1, which is again the cell with our sum product in it, and I want that to be equal to, so I go over to the middle box and click on equal to, and my constraint is 20. So I'm going to make 20 of the model A's. So I want this E9 to be equal to G9. I'm going to click add again because we have marketing B constraint, and we'll do pretty much the same thing. This E10, I want to be greater than or equal to, because our marketing folks want to make at least five of the model B's. And so then I click on, so I want E10 to be greater than or equal to G10. And one last constraint here, which is our proportion constraint, and I want that sum product to be less than or equal to the 0. And so I click OK. That adds the last one in, and you can see that it put all four of those constraints in my constraint box here. Now, if I keep going down the dialog box here, I see that right underneath the set of constraints is I have a checked box that says make unconstrained variables non-negative. In almost all cases, you're going to leave that check or make sure that that's checked, because it's very useful. It makes sure that we're not going to make a negative number of any of these products. So now we could put in separate constraints that say that each one of the quantities of the A, B, and C have to be greater than or equal to 0, but checking this box does exactly the same thing. Now it says select a solving method, and there are three of them in here: GRG, nonlinear, simplex, and evolutionary. I would just recommend you leave it on GRG nonlinear. It's probably the easiest thing to do. And there's an options button over here. You can leave all this the same. If you have to change any one of these, you will know that you have to change any one of these, and so I would just recommend leaving it alone, and then click solve. You come up with this button that says or this dialog box. It says solver found a solution. All constraints and optimality conditions are satisfied. And it says keep solver solution. You can also generate some reports with that if you'd like. And so I will generate a answer report and click OK. And when we do that, it puts another tab out here with an answer report in it. And it says basically everything about the answer. Now, it tells you the final value of the answer. So we're going to make 20 of the model A's, 80 of the model B's, which you can see those right here, and 0 of the model C. And then when we go down here, we see the various constraints. We had 6 constraints, and said some are binding and some are not binding. Well, the binding part just means that we run out of that. For example, we didn't run out of the marketing B constraint. We didn't run out of the proportion constraint. We made a lot more B's than C's. We didn't run out of inventory. We didn't run out of paint, but we ran out of production capacity. And we ran out of, or we had a binding constraint of exactly 20 Model A's. So those are the 2 binding constraints. And again, we made $496,000 with this one. So that's it.